All right, we'll say
Okay.
good morning to everybody. We are now on our last three workshop topics, and today's topic we are going to be discussing Winlink and Vara with Frank O'Laughlin, Bruce WA3SWJ, and Len W1LEM. And I'll let Frank introduce the team, all members of Cape Cod ARES.
Okay, thanks, Rob. And I want to welcome Lem and Bruce, who've been kind of sparing up some of this demo stuff and done a good job and doing a lot of digital research for us and a lot of future projects that's going on. And they did this presentation for our local club here in Barnstable and Cape Cod, and went over really, really well. And this is probably close to it, and maybe he's made a few changes here and there. And with that, I'll pass it back to you, Lem, and I don't know if Tom is in there or not, but welcome him also, and any of our guys. But over to you, Lem. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you, Frank. What I plan to do today is, Frank mentioned that we did a presentation at our local club meeting a month and a half or so ago, and this is a kind of a change from that. Last time I did a lot of slides and some demo. This time it's going to be mostly demo, mostly demonstration, mostly live demo with of Winlink. So Bruce, WA3SWJ, and I both located in Brewster. I'm in Grid Square FN41XS, and Bruce is about 3 miles to my west. So that's so you get an idea of where we are physically. So I'm going to share my screen, if I can get this right. So you should be seeing. Okay, are you seeing? Okay, I can see it over there. Yeah, that wasn't.
Just so you know, Lem, we see your screen, but we're seeing the not the full show, but the preview.
Right. So I've got to share the other.
Right.
I've got to figure out how to get this because I've got two monitors. So you're seeing what's on my main monitor, and the slideshow is showing up on the other one. I've got to. Let me take a second to figure out how to get that. So I'm going to stop sharing, and then try this again. That came up better. Okay. So what this is basically it is a Winlink overview. Let me there we go. The objective here is to supply enough information to get someone started with Winlink, and so it assumes no prior knowledge. I know that some of you have a lot of knowledge. Please bear with me. The objective is to start at ground zero and build up. I took this presentation off the Winlink website. I modernized it and localized it, so if I want to give credit to the people who developed it. I do intend to distribute the PowerPoint deck. I'll talk with Frank and Rob to figure out the best way to do that to all the attendees. What the deck has in it is I'm going to stop at slide 9, but it goes on for about 40 more slides after that has a lot of detail about how to do things. So you'll have that information. You'll see most of that in the demo, but you'll have that for reference in the future. I don't want to get involved in detailed technical discussions about how it all works because I don't want to drag on too long. And also, you may ask some questions that I can't answer. Maybe Bruce can, but but I can't. Another note here, you'll see throughout this presentation, because the presentation itself that I started with was a little bit old, the names have changed many times over the years, and it's been called RMS Express, Winlink 2000, WL2K, Winlink Express. I'm just calling it Winlink. And so that when you see those names, what's the difference between them? It's Winlink. And let's just leave it at that. Starting with this is a football approach from Vince Lombardi. Um, what is WinLink? Basically, it's a way to send email over the radio. That's the basis of it. And it's the important thing is it's worldwide. You can get an email over the radio from you to anywhere in the world. It's been around for a long time and been developing for a long time. So it's mature and it's mostly stable and it works. It's widely used for emergency communication. Red Cross uses it extensively. ARES nationwide uses it. And a key advantage is that you have the ability to create and distribute standard forms, including ICS forms and Red Cross forms, and we'll see some of that in the demonstration. And it's got a whole lot of other capabilities that are beyond the scope of this session. So I'll mention some of them, but I won't go into a lot of detail because one, I don't want to take the time, and the other is I don't have the details in a lot of cases. So we'll leave it at that. How is it put together? Starting with you, what you need is a radio, a computer, and the software, plus an interface. So that's what you need. If you're able to do digital on HF or packet on VHF, UHF, you can do WinLink now. That same hardware. For example, I've got since the last time I did this, I've got a new radio. I've got an ICOM 7300, and that's all I need to do HF WinLink. Plus the software because it has a sound card interface. My prior radio was a Tentec Jupiter, and for that I needed a signal link, and we'll talk about signal links and all that later on. You need some kind of a sound card interface or a TNC. The next level are the message servers, which are scattered around the world. On the Cape for VHF, we've got basically a digipeater in Barnstable that most people use for VHF WinLink. For HF, there are radio message servers scattered around Massachusetts. The two that I connected to this morning, just to make sure that I can connect to something, because that's not always true. With HF, you're dependent on propagation, and I want to make sure I can connect to something this morning. But I've got one that's about 80 miles from me, and one in Manchester, New Hampshire, that's a little over 100 miles, I think, from me. That the two that I'm connecting to. On HF, you can connect as far as you can get. I've played a little bit to see how far I can get. I haven't really stressed it, but I know that I can connect to an RMS in the Chicago area, and I'm sure that I can do further than that if I crank up the power and work that out. Okay. So that's the individual RMSs. And the backbone of the whole thing, there are, I think, 5 message servers on 3 continents scattered around the world. I think there are 3 in the US, 1 in Europe, and 1 someplace else. I'll see if there's a map that's coming up. You only need to get to 1 for the normal system, but those replicate around the world, and you really don't need to worry about those. What you need to worry about is are you your own system, and can you get to a gateway? And the rest of it's magic. Then the miracle happens. Okay, architecturally, this is how it looks. Those are the 5 servers. You got the 3 in North America, 1 in Europe, and 1 in Australia. You see the internet in the middle there. The internet is required at some level for most things, not all things. So you can send email without the internet totally over the radio. But if you're trying to get email to a non-radio user someplace in the world, at some point the internet's got to get involved, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. But the main point is you can do. This is you down at the bottom here on the radio, getting up to an RMS, and then the radio messages go further. It's also possible to do it internet only with Telnet, so you can send a message from your computer with Winlink and have it connect directly to the internet and go on. And it's also possible, and we'll talk briefly about this, to go peer-to-peer, so you don't need the internet at all, and there's even more advanced features than that. But basically, this is the architecture. Another way to look at it is, I know Bruce likes the other one, I like this one, so I put both slides in. At this point, you've got, this is the main guy here, talking through an interface, which is the slide originally said TNC. I crossed that out and said interface, because it would be TNC or some kind of a sound card interface, typically a signal link. That gets out here to the RMS. The RMS gets to the gateway, gets off of these servers. Then over here, you got some the recipients. And you can go through Winlink itself, or just have somebody pick up an email through the normal email service off the internet. So you can send an email to an email address, send it out over the radio. It will arrive to somebody's regular email, and vice versa. It goes the other way as well. And in fact, we'll show that. So that's the asynchronous stuff. You send a message, it goes into this magic stuff and winds up at somebody's radio or somebody's it comes back through another RMS and back through somebody else's radio. It's also, as I mentioned, possible to do synchronous stuff peer to peer. And if we have time today, we may demonstrate some peer to peer stuff. We had Bruce and I have had some success in doing peer-to-peer. The problem is, even though Bruce is 3 miles away, we can't reach each other. we can both reach the digipeater in Barnstable, but there's something between us that's blocking the VHF signal. HF we're able to do peer-to-peer going through on 40 meters without a problem, but VHF is, for some reason, is a problem. Okay. This stuff in red over here, and this is, well, again, beyond the scope of the presentation, but I want to mention this because it shows there's a whole lot of capability. It's also possible that some of these RMSs are defined as message pickup stations for store and forward. So instead of, if the internet's not available, they will find another RMS that's also a store and forward station and get it delivered at that level. And I'm telling you more than I know on that. So that's where we that's where that discussion will end. The point is, it is possible to do long distance stuff without the internet. It's more typical to do in an emergency. You're doing more local stuff. If you need to get out of the local area, you do it through an RMS, and hopefully the RMS is able to connect. Whatever RMS you're connecting to is able to get the internet. If the one you normally connect to doesn't, the internet's out there, and on HF you may be able to go farther away to get someplace out of the disaster area. Of course, if it's a nationwide disaster, that makes it a little more challenging. But for most cases, we've got this sufficient. Okay. There are many different ways for Winlink and Connect. Um, the ones in red are the ones we're going to talk about today. Pactor is a very fast, expensive thing used mostly by by people who can afford it, like military and commercial interests. I don't have that slide in here, I don't think, but WinLink is available not only for the amateur frequencies, but for other frequencies as well. For example, the shares frequencies and shares and Mars are able to use it. So it's beyond. There are other capabilities beyond just amateur radio. Okay. There used to be a thing called WinMore. WinMore is no more. I left that in this slide because that was on with a cross out, because you will see that if you're doing research or looking around finding YouTube videos, a lot of them will just mention WinMore. WinMore has been replaced with faster things. RDOP is one, VARA is the other. I'm going to talk about VARA. And that there's VARA HF and VARA FM for VHF and UHF. So there's two things there. And VHF and UHF, you use packet or you use VARA. If you have a sound card interface and don't have VARA, you want to do packet, you need other software. It's called Sound Modem, and we'll demonstrate that. So you need something to communicate with the sound card. If you have a terminal node controller, you don't need that. And I also have an example of that, because we're going to show I'm going to show three different radios. Bruce is going to show one. So I've got the ICOM 7300 for HF, and I've got a Leishon VV898S, I believe it is, the little 25 watt thing that I use a signal link with. And I also have an Alinco that has an internal TNC, and we'll use that as well. Just for grins. Okay, Telnet, as I mentioned before, non-radio connection through the internet. The software connects to the internet, sends a message, and it goes. The other things down here are beyond the scope of this presentation, except for the peer-to-peer, which I mentioned earlier. But again, I leave it here because it's important to know that there's a whole lot to WinLink more than just the basics we're talking about, the basics plus that we're talking about this morning. So the first thing you need to do is get a WinLink account. And the way you get a WinLink account is to get the WinLink software off of winlink.org, and we're going to show all that in a minute. The Sound Modem software and the VARA software are separate downloads. I should mention, Sound Modem is free. VARA has a free version with limited speed. The one that I have and Bruce has are the paid version, which I think is $76. You don't need to get that right away. Make that investment right away. Find out if you like it and want to use it. It's also possible to get group discounts for get about a $20 discount off that. I know of clubs that have done that. So there's that capability. Once you've downloaded the software and you have an internet connection, the first time you open up WinLink, you'll get a setup form. Fill out the form, and then you'll get your it'll set you up with a WinLink account, and your email address will be your call sign at winlink.org. W1LEM at winlink.org is mine, and that will be set up for you. And then from then on, you can log into winlink.org with your password, and you can set it up so your password remains in WinLink. And if you don't use it within a little over a year, it'll go away. So just so you know. So now we're in the demonstration part. So let me get my menu back here. we go. All right.
Lem, I don't know if you want to invite any questions now or interact. I
Good-
think we've got enough time to be.
Yeah, good idea, Bruce. If there are any questions, please ask now while I'm fumbling around. Okay, why is this not?
Question I have is, how does one find VHF stations on either Vara or the sound modem?
But I will show you how to do that. There's a Winlink will show you the local stations. For VHF, it'll show you everything within 100 miles. For HF, you can look; it'll show you everything in the world. So you can find, you can, if you want to try to connect to a server in New Zealand, it'll show you where that is and what frequency it's on. The other thing to mention is that on HF, it also does rig control, so you don't have to worry about tuning the radio to the specific frequency. It will Winlink will, if you have the serial connection to your rig, it will operate the VFO and change you to the band and frequency that you want to get to. It doesn't do that for VHF because you're on one band and you know where you want to. Typically, the whatever RMS you want to get to is on a channel that you're able to just get directly to.
Lem, were you going to show the map or is that coming up? On the website while you're sharing this screen?
That's a good idea. I'm having trouble getting.
You want me to share the map? Talk about the map while you're.
Why don't you do that while I'm fumbling?
You're getting setting up. Okay, let me do that. Can I stop yours then?
Yep. I think I already did. I thought I stopped it, but what I'm trying to do is I can't get that menu up.
I'm sharing my screen and I'm going to winlink.org. Is everyone seeing my screen, the Winlink site?
No.
You're not seeing it.
Come on. What is?
I'm sorry, I'm not sharing the screen.
No, you're not. I'm not seeing it anyway.
Is anyone seeing my Winlink screen?
No, do not.
You need to stop sharing and then.
Yeah, I can't get the menu up to stop sharing.
Oh, I thought I said to stop sharing. Let me try it again. Hold on. Geez, this is weird because it said. Let me try that again. Share screen. This will stop the other screen sharing. Do you want to continue? I said yes. And then I'm getting the option to share screens and I select it and I get the blue box around my screen. Oh, but it still say we're seeing Lem's screen. So yeah, it really wants Lem to let go, doesn't it?
And this is really annoying. I can't.
Lem, if you highlight in the big box where you're sharing your screen, the menu at the bottom should come up.
I know that it's not coming up. That's what I'm trying to do. Okay, there we go. Now all of a sudden it can't.
I just found a stop participant sharing.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, I'm not shared anymore.
No. Okay. So now you're seeing my Winlink global radio.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm seeing you.
No, now you should be able to share. Now you should be able to share.
Okay, I'll try and share again. Share screen. Share screen. Select this one. Oh, I didn't double click. There we go.
Okay, now
how's that look?
There you go.
Okay, so here's on the main side under tools, and we'll go to a packet radio. These are the different modes that Lem was talking about. We'll look at packet. And so this is going to show me all the RMS gateway stations. And you can see there are a lot in the US. We got to zoom in here. And you see on Cape Cod, or out here. So this is a VHF. You see, and you hold it, you click on it, it tells you the frequency, where it is. So that's the one we're going to use as our gateway for this morning's when we use the VHF. Likewise, you can switch back and go to here's VARA HF. You were asking the question about how do you find the stations? I'm going to zoom back out. This also shows you which stations are actually online right now. An active RMS gateway, radio gateway, checks in periodically every 2 or 4 minutes with the mothership. And so they know which stations are online. So these are the stations that are online. You can see there's one in Providence. This is the one I might use later in our demo, the FBI one. But those are someone was asking, or Theodore or somebody was asking where the stations, the HF stations are. All right, so Lem, I can turn it back to you now. You ready, or? Lem still there? He's muted. I'm going to stop sharing. Okay.
Okay, you move me around there. Okay, so I am going to now open up Winlink. No, I'm not. That's not what I want to do first. I'm going to share my screen. Share this one. Okay. So there you are. So you're seeing my whole screen here. What I'm going to do is I am going to, this is my email client. So I'm going to send an email to so I'm going to send that. Okay, so we got that done. So I can close out that client. Now I can open, I want to go over here. Bring up winlink.org. And this is the main screen that you will see here. If you go over here to my account, if you don't have an account, you can't do this. So, but you got to do, you're going to set up an account. But I just wanted to point out something here while we're here. We're going to log into Winlink. I'm going to log into Winlink. There we are. And if I look at my webmail, there is the message that I just sent from my email, my email client. So Winlink has it. So I'll back up here. The other thing you want to leave is that. So this is where you get the Winlink software. Go to download, and you want user programs, and it has pointers to other software here. The one you want is Winlink Express install. So you click on that, and it's a zip file. You can install it as normal stuff. It takes a couple of seconds to do. It's not huge. So that's where you get it.
I mean, they've done a nice job as far as once you install an initial one, it will self-update. It will say, hey, there's a new update version. You want to update it, and we'll download it and install it itself. So it's they've done a nice job with the ongoing maintenance of the package.
Okay, so that's it. Go to winlink.org, go to download, user programs, Winlink Express. That's how you get it. Okay, so now you've got Winlink Express. And the first time you open it, this isn't my first time, so I won't do it. You get this screen. And what you need to fill in, and you don't have a Winlink account yet. You can only create a Winlink account by doing this. And you give it your call sign, create a password, password recovery email, need an external email address in case you want to recover your password. That's always a nice fail safe. I've never needed it, but that's a possibility. Ability to add some additional call signs. I'm not going to get into that. So you give it your grid square, and down here are service codes. The only two service codes that you're allowed to put in there are public or emergency communication. Public gets you any RMS is available to the public. There are some that are available for emergency communication only, and that's what MCOM gets you. Because this is more than amateur radio, there are some RMSs that are private, and they do not publish those. So you're not unless you know what private survey you want to get to and you're authorized to do it, you're not able to put anything in there. Then you just fill in your the rest of your demographic information over here, and click update, and it will then create an account for you. Once you've created an account, you're ready to go with some setups. So setting, right. So as you see over here, I've got Vara HF Win on this. Let me back up a little bit. On this screen, there are a couple of things. There's settings. There's a message thing that says what kind of message do you want to send. Usually, new message is what you want to do, and that's what we're going to pick off. You're able to down here you can create personal folders. Right click, click a name in there, click update, and you've got a folder. So I've got the 4 there. If I wanted to store a message in my it was a message related to Ares, I would select the Ares folder here and move it to that. Or I could also delete it. So that's and then finally over here, open session. Different kinds of sessions you can open. The ones we're going to care about today are Telnet Winlink, Packet Winlink, and Vara HF. And we're going to show Vara FM, but since I can't reach a Vara FM server, we're not able to demonstrate that. I imagine that most of you guys who are off Cape can reach them, but I'll show what they are in a minute. Okay, so we'll start off with Vara HF Winlink, and we'll open a session. Okay, so it's down here. This is Vara. Vara also has to be set up. So we do settings, Vara setup, and this stuff. In this case, I've got a licensed version, so I put my registration key in there. The other thing is sound card, and you'll always pick. Sometimes you'll have more than one sound card, so you choose the sound card that you want. In this case, it's either going to go to my my webcam or to you want the USB audio codec, and you may have multiple ones. If you have multiple sound cards, maybe you have 2 signal links or something. You'll have more than that. That's more advanced, but that's what you want to do: input and output, so that the Winlink knows where to send the digital stream and where to receive it from. Okay, those are the that's the sound card in my ICOM 7300. In the case of a signal link, they look exactly the same way. The rest of that's all you need for that. Settings over here. It's Vara TNC setup. The primary thing you want to do here is, let me get my Zoom thing out of the way. These are the defaults, and take most of the defaults, but this thing right here points to where you have Vara installed, and that would be the default location when you install Vara. If you don't put it there, you just need to find it and put it there. And the reason Vara came up as soon as I opened the Vara session was that I said automatically launch Vara when the session's open. That makes sense because you want to have it going. Okay, that's what that is. The Vara has a little waterfall on it there. It's also telling me a new version of Vara is available. It's been telling me that for a couple of days. I decided not to do that just as a fail-safe thing because sometimes when you do updates, stuff happens. So I figured I'd leave it alone until after this demo. But as soon as we next time I'm using this after the demo, I will update the next version of Vara.
More than just stuff happens.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to close that. Okay. I'm going to create a message here. And I'm going to send it to Bruce. Just say, hi, Bruce. Yo. Now, that's not enough. You have to post it to your outbox. And you can post it as a Winlink message, a radio-only message, or a peer-to-peer message. We're doing Winlink, meaning it's going to go through an RMS. If we were doing peer-to-peer, we'd have to post it as a peer-to-peer message. And if we were doing that radio-only stuff that I talked about briefly, it would be radio-only. We're doing Winlink. This is the default, and that's what you want. Post it to your outbox. So now if we look over here, I've got a message in my outbox. That's the message to Bruce. So now I'm going to open a session again. So now the session's open, and it automatically changed my frequency on the ICOM to 3596.4, which is the the dial frequency for this this gateway. So now we'll try to connect. An hour ago I was able to connect. We'll see if I still can. Turning the volume up on the radio so you can hear what's going on. Okay, you should be able to start to connect there. Okay, so there. So this is 82 miles away. So the reason it says 29 minutes remaining is that different RMSs have different time limits. That's in a 24-hour period. So I already used a minute earlier today, and this allows me 30 minutes. Some of them allow unlimited, some allow up to 2 hours. Okay, so this is the message. So it sent the message that I had there, and now it's receiving the message that I got from the internet. And there you got some statistics on turn that down again. Now you have some statistics on the session. We were lucky. This one was pretty fast. There are sometimes it takes a little bit longer, the handshaking and transmission. So we were getting through with 154 bytes a minute. Not bad. Sometimes it gets to like 8 and it takes a little bit longer. These were nothing much to these messages, so it went through pretty fast. HF is slower than VHF, just so you know. And in this case, we're doing 2300. I have, if I connected to an RMS that was available, had 2750 available, that's bandwidth, 2750 hertz, that would be a little bit faster. Okay, so that's how we do that. So let me just go back to now. I'm going to close the session window. Look at my inbox, and there's the message that I sent from my email client earlier. We also looked at it on winlink.org, but I didn't do anything with it, so it stayed there. The RMS went out to through the internet, got it, pulled it down, and delivered it to me. I also have a sent item there. This one, that one I'll delete. This is the one I sent to Bruce. So I'm going to stop sharing, and Bruce will now connect to a different RMS and see what happens.
Okay. Okay, so you're seeing my screen and here. Okay, you're seeing my screen with the Winlink main menu.
Yep.
Okay, so same thing. I'm going to here's the drop down the different connections. I'm going to select again the VARA HF Winlink and do the open session again. You see, I've got nothing in my inbox here. All my boxes are cleared out. So we'll do an open session. So here's VARA opening up, and you can see the VARA modem here. And I'm going to hit start. And you can see I'm connecting to this K1EHZ, which is in New Hampshire.
It's in Manchester, New Hampshire.
Yeah. Okay, we'll hit start. I can turn up the volume so you can hear it. And likewise, I connected an hour ago. We'll see if it reconnects. There it goes. It's a little weak this morning. Listen.
So he's 36 kilometers away.
Yeah, we're not. You can see, and so ideally, you want that signal noise ratio to be in the green. You'll get better speed. It was up in the green this morning about an hour ago, but it looks like it's dropped down. But let's see.
That square that with the dots in it that Bruce is pointing to, when you have a really good signal, it looks like an X on there. And while we're waiting for Bruce's to come, I see a question that asks, is it tablets? It's possible to run Winlink on a tablet. Winlink does not require a lot of resources. The minimum resource pay, basically, if you have something that can run Windows, a currently supported version of Windows, you can do Winlink. That's the they used to have various specifications, going back to XP, Windows XP and stuff. The important thing is that it's Windows only. So you need a currently supported version of Windows. If you have that, you can run it on whatever you can run it on. Did that answer your question? That was from John Goldfield.
Okay. All right. It looks like the message is done, finished. It's done, and here's something in my inbox. I'm going to look at my inbox and I'm going to open it up. Bring it down here, open up another screen. And here's the message from Lem. And so I'm just going to reply right back to him. All is well. And then you do the same thing, you post it to your outbox. And you can see now I've got something in my outbox. This is ready to go out. So I'll start up this VARA session again, hit start.
One thing to note is you see on Bruce's screen there where it says channel busy in red. It's busy because he's using it. As with anything in amateur radio, it's important to listen before you start sending stuff. If that says, if the RMS is busy, it's going to tell you that, and you can hear you can hear the chirping over the rig, and that tells you don't use this one yet, or go find another one, or don't try to send over somebody.
It will actually prompt you. I've tried to do it. It will actually prompt you and say, hey, the channel appears busy. Are you sure you want to hit go ahead?
Exactly.
So we've got the signal levels have come up quite a bit, so this should go pretty fast. And you see my signal to noise ratio, and yep, there goes the message. The green bar goes left to right when you're sending and right to left when you're downloading. And see, that time I got 1,218 bytes a minute. Okay, so we're all done sending, and then it handshakes and says goodbye to the RMS. And disconnect.
Now, you want to point out that looking at some of those things along what some of those messages mean, most of it is just stuff that you'll never that you don't care much about, but it's telling you who's connecting to what, when they're sending and receiving. The most important thing is you see where the Bruce, you want to move your cursor to the FF there. Okay, you want to see the FF, and then it says completed, and then after that you want to see the FQ below it. If you see the FF and then the FQ, you know you've had a successful session. If you don't see that, it's possible that that it terminated before before it was finished, and then you may need to do it all over again or try another RMS or something. This is stuff happens, so it's worth taking a look at.
Are you going to talk about the channel selection too?
Yeah, good idea. Thank you, Bruce.
I'll send it back to you and you'll do that?
No, you can go ahead. You're there, you might as well do it.
All right, someone was asking about which stations to connect to. Again, this is the HF. So one thing, it updates these propagation and does this calculations for you and gives you the best candidates, both the frequency and the speeds and everything to connect to. So you can click on one of these stations. So I'll click on VE3ETN. And you see it's updated my frequencies and the station, and I could try and connect to it. In here also, you could once a day, if it's changed significantly, you can update via the internet, and we'll go and update. If you update it first in the morning, you probably should do it again at night, and you'll get different combinations of stations. And then if you load down here, and it's best probability of connection down to here, and all the way at the bottom, obviously, is path reliability estimate and path quality estimate in red. So you'd like to try and get some of the stations up here that are green. So there's quite a few HF stations to try and reach.
And then you notice there's a variety of bands there also. They go from 160 up to
there's some 75
to 20. I don't know if there's anything higher than 20, but there's a lot on 30.
And Frank and Len was talking about the groups here. These are all public stations mentioned as public. Remember, those are all the public stations you're connected. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing now.
Hold on one second. Let me.
Okay. Any questions on this part?
Okay, thank you, Bruce. So Bruce has just sent a message. I'm going to move over to my laptop, and the reason I've got two computers is I've got this one is set up to connect it to my to the ICOM for HF. My laptop is connected to my two VHF radios. So we'll okay. And I will open up Winlink here. This computer has been a little bit flaky today, so so I guess John had asked about what kind of hardware do you need, what kind of computer do you need. This is a fairly old laptop, and I have an even older laptop that I also use. The even older one was originally provisioned with with Windows Vista, but I bought it refurbished, and it came back refurbished with XP on it. So I used it with XP and upgraded it to Windows 7, then 8, and then 10. So I'm running Windows 10 on it, which is kind of stretching the capability of it. But the point is, you can you don't need a lot of hardware to run Winlink. Okay, so this is which radio am I on here? Okay. So now I want to share my screen, don't I? Okay. Actually, I'll share the whole screen. Okay. So you should all see my Winlink on the. So you see, I've got a couple of messages from Bruce here. These are look at the dates. Those are back earlier in April. We've been doing this for a while. So I'm set up here for packet P2P. While we're here, I want to know you can also do Vara FM P2P. I'm sorry, Vara FM is what I want. Vara FM Winlink. It says packet peer-to-peer there because Bruce and I were experimenting yesterday, and it's still there from our experiment last night. Okay, so I'm going to go to Vara FM Winlink. Vara has two versions. There's two different downloads. The Vara HF and Vara FM are different programs. One license fee covers both, but you need to have both of them. So I'm going to open a Vara FM session. Okay. So you see it's successfully connected. So now what channel do I have? I click on channel selection here. I can get my cursor to come back. There's everything within 185 miles. The M1 ASA-10 is fairly new, but it used to be KF1D was the closest one. That's fairly new. It's still too far away from me. I can't reach that with VHF, so I'm not able to demonstrate. A lot of you guys are probably closer to some of these than I am. For example, there's more the KF1 EHZ, which Bruce connected to on HF, has a couple of different sessions here, and that's in Manchester, New Hampshire. The other ones I'm not sure. Some of you probably recognize the grid squares. They're probably, I think most of you are in FN42 someplace. So you may be a lot closer and able to connect to those. I can't, so I'm not able to demonstrate it today, but I just wanted to show you if we were going to do it, that's how we would do it. So I'm going to go back, close that. And I'm going to open packet Winlink. And there you see it opens the sound modem, the sound modem software over there. And again, same with settings on the in the Winlink session. Variety of setup for sound modem, and this is all. If you look in the documentation, it'll tell you what you need for all these things. Most of these are defaults, but you'll need to look at the documentation to set that up after you download download sound modem. And then over in sound modem itself, devices, same thing, needs to be able to point to USB audio codecs for in and out, microphone and speaker, same as you would with any sound card and sound card interface, and same as we did with Vara earlier. So, as I said, this computer is being a little flaky today. Get back to here. Okay, so now I'm going to start a session here. If I went to, okay, I'll go to channel selection again just to show you this. This is showing me again everything within 185 miles. It used to be 100. I don't know why it's 100. So I guess they've expanded that a little bit. W1SGL, which is in Barnstable, 14 miles from me, is the one that we always connect to on the Cape. So that's what's there. Actually, let me do this again. If I click on that, it will tell me right there what frequency I should be tuned to. I happen to know that, and I've already got it set, but it will tell you what frequency to set. I don't have a speaker. I don't know if you can hear that. If you can hear, Bruce, can you tell me if you hear that?
I'm hearing it. Yes, we're hearing it.
It's actually coming through my headphones. Not these headphones, another set of headphones. I've got 3 sets of headphones sitting here, and okay. Okay, so you see that it's found a message there. You notice that here it's got the 58PY blah blah blah, and that's where it says, yeah, that's the message code, and here it's saying receiving that message, the same string of characters there. And as Bruce mentioned, the green line shows you whether sending and receiving.
And again, I hope you're noticing that we're all using all different modes, right? When I've sent a message with one mode and we're receiving it with a different mode, you're not dedicated. The sending station does not have to be the same or configured the same as the receiving station.
Right, and so we had Bruce connected to Bruce and I connected to different RMSs to transfer the HF messages. Then this one, Bruce is on HF and sent me this message from HF. I picked it up from Winlink on VHF. So that it all works. I used an example when I did the presentation for Bark of WA2UMP lives about 6 feet from me. That's an exaggeration. It was a little bit longer than that, but he's very close. And if I wanted to send a message to him, and if I was able to connect to a server in New Zealand, to RMS in New Zealand, I could do that, send him a message, and he could connect to a server in Norway, for example, and he would get my message, and my message would say, "Can I borrow a cup of sugar, Jim?" And then he could walk over to my house and bring me the cup of sugar. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter as long as you get to WinLink. It doesn't matter where or when, which is useful for MCOM, because if you want to get outside of the disaster area, one way to do that, and you don't have internet, one way to do that is to connect an RMS that's outside the disaster area, and then you can get the messages will go out either over the radio or over the ordinary internet. Okay, so let's. I am now disconnect reported here. It's finished. So I'm going to close that. When I close that, sound modem closes. Um, my inbox has one unread message, which is this one here. So that was from Bruce. Okay, subject you. I didn't. That doesn't have your text in there, Bruce.
No, that's, I think that's the wrong, it says from, that's the one you sent earlier.
Oh, that's March 30th, right? Okay. Now that's
Inbox.
okay. There we go.
There it
I'm
is.
sorry.
Yeah. Yeah.
I clicked on the wrong Bruce.
Yeah.
The so there it is. Message received all as well. So that's the message I got from Bruce. We have now successfully communicated. So what I'm going to do now is change rigs. I'm going to go back to my original desktop here. I can get this out of the way. Sorry about my fumbling, guys. This is not. Okay, get that out of the way. Okay. See over here, I've got Winlink Leishon and Winlink Alinko. So I need, in order to have two different configurations, you need different instances of Winlink. So what I just did was on the Leishon. So I had opened that version of Winlink. If I want to go through my Alinko, I would open this other version. Okay. And this Alinko has a TNC, an internal TNC. So I don't need sound modem. I don't need VARA. I'm connected directly to it. So if you've got something like Cantronics or another rig with an internal TNC, that this would be that setup. Okay, so I've got packet Winlink set up here, but first I am going to send a message. Actually, why don't I send you a form, Bruce?
Sure. Sure. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to. This is different from the way we rehearsed it, but we can only do this. So over here, now I've got this normal text message I can do. I can also click on select templates. Okay, click on standard templates. It's got a whole series of different things. You wanted to send a National Traffic System radiogram. There's a template in there. If you wanted to send one of the ICS forms, they're all ICS USA. There are also all the Red Cross forms, or a lot of the Red Cross forms are in here. So if I wanted to send a Red Cross general message, I would do that. And it opens up in the browser. It opens the browser tab and says, okay, this is the message. And I don't think I have anything to fill this in with, so I'm going to say, no, I don't want to say that. I want something, so we'll just call that disaster response number 1 incident. And these are the things I left in here from a variety of tests. So frozen days was our winter exercise. Some of you may have been involved in that. Precedence, welfare priority, routine or emergency. We are routine. And I'm going to send it to, well, in this case, oh, what do you know? Maybe I do have this here. I do. Okay. I just clicked on load initial data. And last time I did this, I stored that information. Okay. And that's actually a different thing. This is from this is from a Winlink Thursday is what that's from. One of the Winlink Thursday things from the ARC-MCOM group. And this was the text that we needed to fill in. So this is, for example, evaluate, because the text in here doesn't make any difference. Just if you fill the form out. Now all the fields are filled, and it will, if you're missing a required field, it won't let you submit it. So there's some validation in there. And if I clicked on that button there, it would save it so I could retrieve it later. The value of that is if you're doing if you're in an incident, a lot of that stuff is not going to change. So you save it, then retrieve it every time when you create the form. So I'm going to submit it. And it says, click OK and close the browser window. Browser window goes away itself. I go back to Winlink, and there's the form. The text part of the form. It also will have it will attach an XML file to it for use later. So I'm going to post that to the outbox like any ordinary message as soon as my cursor comes back.
You may fill in a 2 there, Lem. Yeah.
Oh yeah. See, it tells me I didn't need you for that, Bruce. Winlink will tell me. But yes, you're right. I need to specify at least one recipient. In this case, it's WA3 SWJ. And you don't need. You just need the call sign. You don't need the winlink.org. Where's my cursor? There we go. And if I CC, if I put a CC on an external email address, that will not go to Winlink. That will go to my external email. So the difference is one is a call sign that's registered with Winlink through that initial process we showed. This one's an external email. So I'm going to post that to the outbox. I'm going to open a session, and this is going to be on my Elenco. So if I do settings here, I don't need any of that. You'd open the session first. Okay, notice here it says initializing the TNC rather than starting sound modem or starting VAR or whatever. So if I clicked on settings, that's what comes up. And this is fairly simple. The only thing you need is to make sure you've got the COM port specified and the right TNC type. This one, setting up the signal link was a breeze. Setting up this simple thing took me about a month because I needed to figure out what to put in here. And I finally had to talk to somebody in the Maryland DC section emergency manager. I found out how the link goes, so I contacted him, and we got that done. Okay, so that's that setting. So I'll do a start. And sometimes it doesn't connect. Try that again. That's a little better. No? Oh, you know, I'm sorry. It helps if you have the antenna switch pointing the right to the right radio. Because they have two radios using one antenna. I forgot to flip that. There's a little more to this message than just a hi and a yo. It looks like it didn't finish. So we don't see the FF and the FQ there, so it did not finish. So I'm going to try again. So between me fumbling and Winlink not cooperating, you've got some real world examples of what kind of stuff can happen. Some of it's idiot operator error. Some of it's Winlink is fun. Oh my goodness. Okay. I know what that is. Sometimes the error message there, sometimes this Alinko does not send forms. I don't know what the problem is, and it's probably a stupid setup problem, but
Do you want me to send the form? And
yeah, you send the form and I'll pick it up on the other rig.
Okay.
Actually, I think I can pick it up on this rig. Okay, let's try that. So I'll stop sharing. I apologize for that. This has worked before, but sometimes this radio does not want to send forms, and I haven't figured out what the problem is. For example, it won't send the normal Winlink Wednesday check-in form, so I need to send that from a different rig. Okay, stop share. Go ahead, Bruce.
Okay, so it should be sharing. Again, so I'm going to open a packet Winlink. So back to the Winlink main window, packet Winlink, open session. And I'm using a hardware TNC. Oh, I'm sorry. Back to script. I need to create the form first. Let me do that. That's right. So I'm going to create a message, new message. Go up here under template, as Lem already did, standard template. I'm going to do American Red Cross. I do have a message one set up. I'll do that one. And up would pop a browser. And I did the same thing. I'm going to load some, I pre-typed the data so you don't have to watch me type. So I'm going to load the data. So this is the message I'd filled in. Supplies arrived. So if it looks good, I'm going to just submit it. And same message before. Hit OK, and you don't need to deal with the browser anymore. And so here's the message ready to go, and they'll do W1 LEM. And we'll go you need to copy it anywhere. Do you need to go to outside one too, or does it for your demo?
No, it doesn't matter.
Okay. So I'm again, post the outbox. So here it is sitting in my outbox, ready to go. Okay, now I'm going to open my session, Winlink. It's going to talk to the TNC and make sure I initialize it. I'm going to hit start, and I'm connecting to the same W1SGL as well. And let's see, you can hear mine too here. Let's see. To 1200 baud. Yeah, you're not hearing the outbound, just the inbound acknowledgments from the W1SGL. And there's the FFFQ, about 3,312 bytes a minute. We're all set. Okay, and the message is out of my outbox. All right, so I'm going to turn it back over to Lem. Anything else? Any questions here you want to see here? You're good? I will stop sharing. There we go.
The question came up, is there a flow chart, whatever. As I mentioned at the beginning of the presentation, I'm going to make this the entire PowerPoint available, and there are probably about 40 slides after I stopped here, after I stopped at the beginning of this, and there are step-by-step screenshots with step-by-step instructions of how to go through and create a form, create a message, create a form, do the setup, and that kind of stuff. So that's why I wanted to make that available. Okay, does that answer the question? I think that was John.
And it is somewhat like a hub and spoke. The hub is the main WinLink Express window where your mailboxes are. That's sort of and then when you go to send a message, receive one, then you have to decide what protocol, FM, Vera, and you go off on that one level to send and receive, and it will put it back in the main box. So I think it was sort of a hub and spoke for the architecture of those menus.
Okay, I just noticed that we are beyond the time frame that we had specified. I noticed that at least one person had to drop off. So I'm going to do the last thing, and then we will take some final questions and go from there. So let's go back to that. Share screen.
Yeah, we can't practice the propagation delays. And retries. Oops, sorry, that's okay. You. Turn that down.
So I'm going to try to connect. So this is my session window. I'm going to try to connect again, and I should get that form.
Oh, we should delete that other one out of your outbox, huh? What's going to go through this time?
Oh, you're right. I'm sorry about that.
No, see if it's going to go through.
No, it gets about that far and then it barfs. Yeah. Okay. That's another idiot operator. I apologize. Let me get out of that. I was jumping ahead. So I have that thing in my outbox that I want to get rid of. Just click on delete. It's gone. Now I'll open the session again. Start it. So because of one, it receives first. Or I'm sorry, it sends first, and it couldn't send that message. The whole session was wasted. Okay, let's try this again.
Huh.
Now, this is it's my laptop not performing.
Can you close the session window and just reopen it?
So I'm gonna have to try to do.
There you go. Yeah. There you go. So the green bar should go from right to left because he's downloading this time, right?
Okay, we got the FF and the FQ, so we're happy. So we're gonna stop here. Disconnect reported. Close that. Look at my inbox. Now when I open that, it comes up in my browser again with a formatted message. So if you were if you were doing communications, and this is between a couple of shelters or between a couple of locations, and you wanted to get this to the appropriate Red Cross person who's not a ham, you could print this and give them a paper thing, or you could create a PDF out of it and email it or local email or sneakernet it to the person. So this is your for the formatted message. Going back to Winlink. Where's my cursor? Okay, there we go. Going back to Winlink. Look at my inbox. I can also hit that the paper clip, and the same thing happens. So the first time you open it up, it's going to open in a browser window. After that, you need to click on the attachment icon to paperclip icon. You got to come up, but you still can. And you also can do view attachments from here, and that gives you a save as PDF possibility. If this were anything other than an XML file, for example, if someone has sent a common separated values file, then you could click Open View, and it would open it in whatever software you had assigned to that extension. So if it's a CSV and you had say Excel assigned to open CSVs, it would open it in Excel. So you could have it that way. In this case, it's just the only thing you can do is save it as a PDF. You could open it, but it's just going to show you the XML, which isn't particularly useful. And there's your message, and you can save that message and always come back to it wherever you want. So that's, I think we've gone over our time a little bit, but we got to the important piece that we wanted to show. Moral of the story is, Winlink's easy to get. Go to the winlink.org website, download the software and install it. Create yourself an account and experiment. You can experiment with this stuff even if you don't have the appropriate equipment by using Telnet, and you can do this over the internet. So it's possible to start very slowly. The PowerPoint deck that we will distribute has a discussion of initial requirements and what the cost would be if you had a full-blown system. Generally, it may cost you nothing. It may cost you as much as a couple $100 if you had to buy a signal link and you had to get a full subscription to Vara and a few other things, but that's down the road. Most of you probably already have the hardware that you need. The question is, what software do you need? And that reduces the expense quite a bit. Are there any questions before we say
There is one in the chat. There's one in the chat. You see it?
okay? I go over here to see the chat. Yeah, it's first come first serve. So that's why I mentioned you need to listen, and whether it's VHF or HF, when you connect to the server, if you see that if you hear the traffic going through, that means you don't. That means wait until it quiets down. And on VHF, you may not be able to reach more than one location. On HF, you have the possibility for going to a different RMS. But usually, give it a few minutes and you're available. And unless you're really, and you'll be able to get there. Unless you're really hot to get something out, that's probably that 5 minutes is probably not gonna make that much of a difference.
And then it batches, right? I mean, you basically, if you can sit there and just start creating messages, and that's the sending task is a background task, so it can wake up and start sending messages. You can set it up so it wakes up every 15 minutes and sends whatever in your outbox. So you can sit there and focus on creating the forms, getting the communications, and then the thing in the background will wake up and send the messages out. It's very asynchronous.
Okay. Other questions? All right. Thank you very much, Bruce, for your help on this, for your co-hosting. I appreciate this, and Frank, thanks for the opportunity. So I'll turn it back to you.
I appreciate it. Thanks, guys. And great job. I know the good thing is that it kind of showed everybody about there's always going to be some, no matter how experienced you are, there's always going to be some little quirks that come up in the middle of these things. And it's just part of amateur radio life, or maybe just part of life. So, it's good to see those that, if you ever get something that goes to 100% through, then, maybe it was made in a studio. So, that's just one of those things you want to say. But I want to thank the guys. I appreciate it. And I think it's informative, and I think people will really look forward to the slide deck as well. So thanks, Bruce, and thanks, Lem. See if Rob's in there, if he wants to come in for any last comments before we kind of end things.
Yeah, I'm here. I was able to see most of it, and it was very well done, and certainly some things I'll take back for some of my digital work. I have Winlink VHF set up. I was very interested in the Vara and the HF setup, and we'll eventually look at the peer-to-peer side of things as well. So very good overall, and really it didn't run overtime. I'd actually allotted at least 90 minutes or so, so this worked out very well time-wise. So appreciate it, and Lem, you can just send Frank and I the presentation. We can make the material available as well as this recording. So we have been recording the session, so we'll get it uploaded probably after all the remaining workshop topics are done. So thanks again, guys. This was great, and especially on a beautiful spring day here in southern New England. So I appreciate those that attended and for you guys presenting.
Okay, thank you. You kept me away from some yard work.
Ah, there you go.
I don't mind.
We had rain. It rained here. We got a sprinkle last night. It's all wet out there.
Yeah, there were a few showers that went through overnight. Tomorrow, we're keeping an eye on marginal risk for severe weather. That will include the South Coast area. So we'll see how it goes tomorrow.
Okay.
Every
All
day.
right, thanks, everybody. I'm gonna end the session, and everybody have a great weekend, and good night at on Sunday.
Thanks,
Okay.
guys.
Good night. Yeah, not good night. Good night. Have a good day, people.
Yep,
Day.
take care, guys.